Mga ka-SERENE, eto na ang kwento na siguradong magpapahinto sa inyo. Ex ko ang bago kong stepmom. Oo, tama ang narinig nyo. Paano kung yung ex mo, siya pa ang magiging stepmom mo? Lahat tayo may complicated relationships, pero this one, medyo ibang level. Kaya naman, mga ka-SERENE, sabay-sabay nating pakinggan at malaman kung paano ba nangyari ito. Don't forget to like and subscribe para sa mga update story natin. Dear DJ SERENE, I never thought that something as simple as a family dinner could completely mess with my head. I thought I had everything figured out. My life, my career, my relationships. Pero lahat ng yun, parang nawasak nang dumating siya. Sa buhay namin, si Lara. O kung gusto mong malaman, ex ko. Yes, DJ SERENE, ang ex ko, na ngayon, siya na ang bagong girlfriend ng tatay ko. You know that feeling na bigla na lang may bigla ang bagyo sa buhay mo? Yun yung pakiramdam ko nung unang nakita ko sila sa bahay. It was a regular evening. Me and my dad were supposed to have dinner, just the two of us, like we always did. Hindi ko inaasahan na yung dinner na yon magiging turning point ng buhay ko. I was just about to walk in the front door when I heard their voices. Tawanan, parang walang kaalalahan. And I swear, my heart skipped a beat when I realized na si Lara nga yun. I wasn't ready for that. Hindi ko na kayang kontrolin ang sarili ko. Para akong natulala, parang may nagbabalik sa aking mga alaala. Dati, siya yung kasama ko tuwing hating gabi. Pero ngayon, siya na yung kasama ng tatay ko. Is this really happening? Sobrang confused ako, DJ SERENE. Ang sakit, to be honest. I felt so betrayed. Parang ang hirap tanggapin. I mean, paano nga ba? Dahil ba may problema kami ni Lara dati? Or dahil sa mga bagay na hindi ko na kayang baguhin? At yun nga, my dad was so happy. Pero ako, I was stuck in that moment of disbelief. How could this happen? I felt like I was a stranger in my own home. Like nothing was ever the same again. Nakatingin lang ako sa kanila, trying to piece everything together in my head. I mean, paano ako magiging okay? Paano ko makakalimutan yung mga masasayang moments namin ni Lara? Tapos bigla na lang siya magiging stepmom ko? I tried to play it cool, DJ SERENE. Pero deep down, I was falling apart. How could I look at her after everything we shared? Paano ko itatanggap na siya na ngayon ang bagong bahagi ng buhay ko, ng pamilya ko? Hindi ko kayang magtanong sa tatay ko. Kasi natatakot akong magbago ang tingin niya sa akin. I've always been the good son, you know? Yung tipong chill, lang, okay lang sa lahat. Pero ngayon, parang naiwan ako sa ere. So, yun ang kwento ko. Hindi ko alam kung saan ako pupunta from here. Sa isang banda, gusto ko lang magtago sa kwarto ko at magpanggap na hindi ko nakita ang lahat. Pero sa kabilang banda, I know I can't run forever. I just want to know, DJ SERENE, is this normal? Yung feeling ng betrayal, yung feeling na parang may malaking hole na naiiwan sa puso ko at hindi ko alam kung paano punan. Alam mo ba yung pakiramdam na parang nahulog ka mula sa mataas na bundok tapos nakabiting ka lang sa ere, wala kang magawa, kundi tignan yung baba, na hindi mo alam kung madadatnan mong buo ka pa o durog. Ganun ang pakiramdam ko nung makita ko sila. Yung tatay ko at si Lara, magkasama sa sala namin, parang walang nangyari. Sila na. Walang alinlangan, walang hiya. After that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything in my head, trying to make sense of it all. Hindi ko pa rin matanggap kung anong nangyayari. Parang ang bigat, DJ SERENE. I could hear their laughter, like they were in their own little world. and all I could do was stand there, trying to act normal. So the next day, dumating ako sa bahay, and I could already feel the shift. When I entered the living room, they were both there, sitting together. Si Lara, nakangiti, yung mga mata niyang dati ko pang nakikilala. Pero ngayon, ibang-iba na. Yung titig niya sa akin, hindi ko alam kung may guilt na or kung ang lahat ay normal lang sa kanya. 3 taon na pala mula nang maghiwalay kami, but it felt like just yesterday that we were in love na pareho kaming masaya. Ang weird lang kasi, dati siya ang kasama ko sa lahat ng importanteng moment ko. Birthday, graduation, first date, lahat ng yun. Then biglang siya na ang kasama ng tatay ko. Hindi ko na alam kung paano ko haharapin. It felt like I was a stranger. In my own home. I tried to talk to my dad, pero alam mo yung feeling na parang ayaw mong magtanong kasi alam mo na hindi mo kayang tanggapin ang sagot? It was hard, DJ Serene. His smile was wide as he introduced her to me. Parang wala lang, as if I should just accept it. As if she was always meant to be a part of our lives. Nakita ko pa sila habang nag-aasikaso ng lunch, nag-uusap tungkol sa mga paborito nilang pagkain. Ang sakit, DJ Serene. Parang gusto ko silang sabunutan, pero wala akong magawa. I couldn't say anything. I wanted to shout and tell them how wrong everything felt. But instead, I just sat there, hoping that maybe I'd wake up from this nightmare. And then, si Lara, she tried to make small talk with me. She asked how my work was going, kung okay na ba ako, and I could see the sincerity in her eyes, pero ang sakit pa rin. How could she just act like everything was fine between us? How could I pretend to be okay with this? Anak, kamusta? Parang ang tagal na since we last talked, she said, her voice so warm. I wanted to respond, pero parang hindi ko alam kung anong sasabihin ko. How do you talk to your ex, na ngayon ay stepmom mo? Do I just go with the flow and pretend like I'm fine? Or do I tell her what I'm really feeling? That I can't accept this? That I still love her in a way? Hindi ko na alam kung ano ang tama. The conversation was awkward, and I could feel the tension between us. My dad didn't seem to notice. He just smiled, happy that we were all together. He looked at us like everything was fine, but inside I was broken. At that moment, I couldn't help but think back to the time when we were happy, Lara and I, when everything was simple. I remembered the way we used to laugh together, the way she used to take care of me when I was feeling down. All of that, gone, just like that. I had so many questions, DJ Serene, so many things I wanted to say to her, to my dad, but I couldn't. Hindi ko kayang umiyak, hindi ko kayang magalit. I couldn't bring myself to show them how much I was hurting. Ang bigat? Yung feeling na hindi ko alam kung saan ako lulugar. Do I stay silent? Or do I speak up and risk losing everything? Hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko. I've been going through the motions, pretending like I'm okay. Pero deep inside, I'm dying. I'm losing myself in the process of trying to keep everything together. I don't know how long I can keep this up. Alam mo, DJ Serene, hindi ko na alam kung anong nangyayari sa akin. Parang isang malaking gulo na hindi ko kayang ayusin. When I look at Lara, I'm reminded of how much I lost. Hindi ko alam kung paano ko hahayaan magpatuloy ang lahat na parang wala lang. And yet, every day I try to put on a brave face. Pero deep inside, ang dami kong tanong. Ang daming nararamdaman na hindi ko kayang ilabas. I spent days replaying the past in my mind, trying to figure out what went wrong. Bakit kami naghiwalay? Bakit siya ngayon ang kasama ng tatay ko? Every little detail seemed to haunt me. Pati, ang mga maliliit na bagay na hindi ko noon pinapansin, ngayon, parang malalaking bagay na. Minsan naiisip ko, baka ako ang may kasalanan. Maybe I could have done things differently. Maybe I should have fought harder for her. But I didn't. I let her go. At yun na siguro ang pinakamalaking pagkakamali ko. There were moments na gusto ko na lang sumabog, to shout at her and my dad and tell them how unfair everything was. Pero I couldn't. Hindi ko kayang masaktan pa sila. So I kept everything inside, hoping na may mangyaring himala. Until one day, I finally decided to confront my dad. I couldn't take the silence anymore. I needed to talk about it. I needed to know why. So, when we were alone, I asked him straight up, Tay, bakit siya? Bakit si Lara? Tatay ko. He was calm. Too calm for my liking. Anak, hindi ko inaasahan na mangyayari ito. But I think you've seen how much she means to me. Hindi ko na kayang itago pa, I'm happy with her. But I never wanted you to feel uncomfortable. You're still my son, and nothing is ever going to change that. But even then, DJ Serene, I couldn't understand. Tay, paano kami? Hindi mo ba kami naisip? Paano ako? Hindi ko kaya makita siya sa tabi mo. She's my ex. His eyes softened. I get it, anak. I do. But sometimes, life just happens. Hindi ko kontrolado kung sino ang nagmamahal sa akin. Pero hindi ko papabayaan ang relasyon natin. I'm your father, and I will always be here for you. I didn't know how to respond to that. Part of me wanted to yell, to tell him how much it hurt. Pero deep inside, I knew he was right. I was being selfish, wasn't I? Hindi ko kayang tanggapin ang desisyon niya, pero siya, tinanggap ang lahat ng sakit na dulot ng pagiging ama ko. I didn't know if I was ready to let go of my pain, but maybe he was. You know, I've always thought that being strong meant pretending everything was fine, kahit na sumasabog na sa loob. Pero ngayon, I'm starting to realize that being strong doesn't mean hiding what you feel. It means acknowledging the pain and learning to live with it. Si Lara and I had our share of moments together. I'm not gonna lie. I miss her. I still love her in a way. Pero yung pagmamahal na yun, it's different now. It's not the same love I felt before. It's more complicated. It's more painful. Hindi ko na kayang maging sila lang na parang walang nangyaring masama. One evening, while I was at the kitchen, trying to avoid talking to Lara and my dad, she came up to me. She asked if we could talk. Alam mo yun, DJ Serene? Yung moment na iniwasan mo pero kailangan mong pag-usapan. And she sat down beside me, quiet for a while. And then she said, I'm sorry for everything. I know this is hard for you. But please understand that I never meant to hurt you. It felt like a punch in the gut, DJ Serene. But her sincerity was undeniable. For the first time, I saw Lara as someone who had her own struggles, too. She wasn't just the ex-girlfriend who broke my heart. She was a person who was trying to rebuild her life. I never wanted it to end between us, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But sometimes we just grow apart. And I needed to find happiness again. At that moment, I knew. I knew that everything wasn't her fault. I had to forgive her, not just for her sake, but for my own peace. And for the first time, I realized that love wasn't about holding on to someone forever. It was about letting go when it's time. It's been weeks since that conversation, and slowly things have started to feel okay. Not perfect, but okay. I stopped trying to fight it. I stopped trying to control everything. I accepted that my dad had moved on, and I had to too. I couldn't keep holding on to the past. I couldn't keep resenting Lara for being with my dad. And most importantly, I had to learn to forgive myself for not letting go sooner. Lara and I started talking again. Not like before, but we were finding a new way to coexist. We talked about the past, about our mistakes. I realized that we could still be friends. Maybe not in the way I imagined before, but we could be okay. My dad? He's happier now. I see it in the way he smiles, the way he talks about Lara. I didn't want to admit it at first, but I was happy for him too. The healing didn't happen overnight, DJ Serene. It's still a journey. But now I know that I'm stronger than I thought. I can live with this. I can let go. I can love again in different ways. Alam mo ba yung pakiramdam na para kang nakabitin sa pagitan ng dalawa? Parang may isang part ng puso mo na natigil. Hindi mo alam kung paano i-acknowledge. I tried to keep it all in, DJ Serene, pero sometimes you just have to speak up. One afternoon, I sat down with Lara and my dad. My heart was racing kasi I wasn't sure what to expect. I was afraid na baka mawala na lang ako sa eksena nila, that maybe they'd both move on and I'd be left behind. Lara, I started, not knowing how to say what I felt. I just want to say, hindi ko pa rin kayang makita kayo magkasama, okay? It feels like I've lost both of you and I don't know how to accept it. My dad looked at me, his face softening, and for the first time in so long, I saw the vulnerability in his eyes. Lara just sat there quietly, listening. Anak, my dad began, his voice steady. I know this is hard for you, and I understand that you're hurt. I didn't want you to feel left out. But sometimes, we don't control the way love works. I love you, Lara loves me, and we're trying to build a future together. But that doesn't change my love for you. I couldn't stop the tears from coming out. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just sad. Sad for what we could have been. Sad for what was lost. I just don't want to lose you, Pa, I whispered. I feel like everything's changing and I can't keep up. My dad nodded, his face full of understanding. You won't lose me, Anak. You're still my son. Nothing's going to change that. But Lara, she reached out and gently touched my hand. I was caught off guard, pero she smiled softly. I know this is difficult, but I want to be part of your life too. Hindi ko gustong maging hadlang. I just want us all to find a way to coexist. Hindi ko kayang burahin ang nakaraan, but I want us to move forward. And right there, for the first time, I realized that maybe I needed to let go of the pain. Maybe I had to stop expecting things to go back to how they were. Things had changed, and I had to accept that. The days after that conversation were strange. Parang may bagong simula, pero may mga natirang pagdududa. Hindi ko alam kung paano ko ipapakita sa kanila na okay na ako, pero deep inside, I was still struggling. Lalo na, nagkakaroon kami ng mga moments kung saan si Lara and we would talk. There were times when we'd share stories, small talks about work, life, and even about how things were when we were younger. She told me about her dreams, the things she regretted, and it was the first time I saw a different side of her. Hindi na siya yung ex na babae ng tatay ko, DJ Serene. She was someone who had hopes and fears, just like me. I didn't expect it to feel this way, pero I started seeing her as a person again. Hindi na yung stepmom na nagbigay sakit sa puso ko. Lara, one afternoon, we went out to have coffee. It was just the two of us. Parang hindi ako sanay, pero I had to push myself to do it. We sat across each other, the silence between us awkward at first. But then she asked me about my life. How's work? How's everything going? It felt weird, but I found myself opening up, talking about my frustrations, my fears, and she listened, just like she used to. No judgments, just listening. At the end of that coffee date, she said something that struck me deep. You don't have to accept me right now, but just know that I'm here, and I'll be here when you're ready. It wasn't a promise that things would be perfect, but it was enough. I didn't have to rush into accepting everything, but I could take it one step at a time. I've been spending more time with my dad and Lara recently. Hindi ko pa rin masasabing okay na, but it's a start. We're learning how to live together, how to move forward despite the past. It's messy, it's hard, but it's also been peaceful in a way I didn't expect. Si Lara, she's been showing me a side of her that I never thought I'd see again. And honestly, it's been hard to accept. Yung pagiging magkaibigan namin. But there's something oddly comforting about knowing that we can coexist. Hindi ko pa siya matatawag na stepmom, but I'm learning to accept that she's part of my family now. One night, while we were all watching a movie together, my dad leaned over and whispered, "I'm proud of you, anak. You're stronger than I thought." It felt good to hear that. I didn't need to prove anything anymore. I had come to terms with what was happening. I didn't need to control it. I just needed to live in it. As for Lara, I think I've come to see her as someone who deserves a place in my life, even if it's just as a friend. The love I had for her may never come back, but that doesn't mean there isn't room for respect and understanding. And who knows, maybe down the line we'll become close again. Maybe not as lovers, but as two people who once shared a lot of beautiful moments and now are finding their way in this new chapter. But for now, I'm content with where we are. I don't need everything to be perfect. I don't need to rush. I'm learning to take things one day at a time. Hindi ko alam kung anong nangyari, pero ito na nga. I never imagined that I would end up here, but sometimes life takes you on a journey you never saw coming. Nandyan na sila, Lara at ang tatay ko, and I have come to realize na kahit may mga bagay na mahirap tanggapin, may mga bagay ding kailangan mong yakapin. A few months after we started making peace, I saw something in my dad that I hadn't seen in years. He was truly happy. I mean, really happy. Lara and I had found a way to coexist, and to my surprise, we even began sharing genuine conversations. We'd talk about family stuff, memories from the past, and even plans for the future. My dad was no longer the man who seemed weighed down by guilt or fear of losing me. He was the father I knew, but with a renewed sense of joy in his life. He'd often tell me, "Anak, hindi ko na kailangan magtago ng nararamdaman ko. Masaya ako, and I want you to know that you're part of that happiness." One evening, while we were all at the dining table, laughing about a silly memory, my dad looked at Lara and then at me, and I saw it, the spark in his eyes. He finally told me something I didn't expect to hear. "I know this isn't easy for you, anak," he said, his voice soft but firm. "But thank you for giving us a chance. Lara and we've built something real, and I want you to see that it's not just about us, it's about all of us. You'll always be my son, and nothing will change that." That night, it hit me. I wasn't just accepting the situation anymore. I was fully embracing it. I was proud of my dad, proud of how he managed to find love again. And honestly, I was starting to appreciate Lara in a new light. She wasn't just the ex anymore. She wasn't just the woman who had been with my dad. She was becoming someone I respected, someone who I could see as a part of my extended family. Then came the day I least expected. My dad and Lara announced that they were planning to get married. For a moment, I froze. But as I looked at their faces, I felt something I hadn't felt before. Pure joy. My dad was smiling so widely, and Lara, she had a softness in her eyes I'd never seen when she was just my stepmom. It didn't hurt anymore. I knew that they had worked through their past mistakes. I knew that this marriage wasn't just about love. It was about understanding, about growing together, and building something real. And when they finally did get married, I was there, standing beside them, not just as a son, but as a person who had found his own peace. I was genuinely happy for them. I wasn't just watching my dad find happiness again. I was seeing my own happiness unfold too. I realized that sometimes things break in order for them to heal, but when they do, they come back stronger, more beautiful, and more whole than before. We might have had a messy start, but we've come out on the other side. My dad and Lara now have their own beautiful family, and I'm a part of that. We laugh, we celebrate, and most importantly, we love each other. And the best part, it's not just about the past anymore. It's about the future, the present, and knowing that no matter how complicated things were, we all found our way back to each other. I guess I've learned that love doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be easy. Sometimes it's about fighting through the pain, learning to forgive, and knowing when to let go. And now, with my dad and Lara finally at peace with each other, I can truly say, everything is okay. We're okay, and we will always be. Thank you, DJ Serene, for being a part of this journey with me. I never thought I'd make it this far, but here we are, happy, whole, and ready for whatever comes next. SDF, VDF, SDF, DSGF, DSG.